This is Numbers with Nicole. I would pause the video here and try these 5 questions based on the lesson of finding the missing side of a right triangle using trigonometry, which is sine, cosine, and tangent. So again, pause the video, try these questions, and then go down and play the video to see the solutions. So for question number 1, you should have gotten 500. So on your diagram, we have been given the adjacent and the hypotenuse, and that corresponds to a cosine ratio, compares the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So our equation would be cosine, which is always on an angle, 60 degrees, would be our A over 1,000, our hypotenuse. We know that we're going to put cosine of 60 over 1, and then we could cross multiply or do the opposite operation to get our answer. So 1,000 times cosine of 60, and we get 500 even. All right, question number 2, you should have gotten 160.6. In the picture, they gave you the opposite and the hypotenuse, which is our sine ratio. So sine of your angle equals the ratio of the opposite, which is 123, over our hypotenuse, which we do not know. So notice here our unknown is in our denominator. I can use cross multiplication to solve this, but when I do that, what happens is the x switches places with the sine of 50. So in my calculator, 123 divided by the sine of 50, and rounded to the nearest tenth, we get 160.6. For question number 3, you should have gotten 39.8. On our diagram, they gave us the opposite and the adjacent, which is our tangent. So tan of 37 degrees equals our opposite, which is 30, over our adjacent, which is the unknown, which is x. So again, we're going to put that tangent of 37 over 1. We're going to cross multiply. But when I do that, what happens is the x and the tan of 37 are going to switch places. You're either multiplying or you're dividing. Those are the only 2 options. If you have adding or subtracting, you've done something wrong. And the only operations are dividing, so the opposite is multiplying. So now we're going to put the 30 divided by the tangent of 37 in our calculator, and I get 39.81 to the nearest tenth, 39.8. For our 4th question here, they gave us the opposite side and the adjacent side, so that is tangent. So tan 60 degrees equals our opposite, which is our unknown x, over our adjacent, which is 50. We put that trig tangent over 1. When I cross multiply, that is simply 50 times the tan of 60. Notice the degree measure is always with tan, cosine, or sine. 50 tangent 60. And we get 86.6 when rounded to the nearest tenth. Our answer here should be 6,398 meters when rounded to the nearest whole meter. So if we look at what information did they give us in this picture, that is the opposite and the hypotenuse, which is our sine. So sine of the angle, which is 23, is equivalent to the opposite, 2,500, over our hypotenuse, which is our unknown. We're going to put that sine of 23 over 1. We can use cross multiplication, but again, what happens? X and the sine of 23 switch places. So in our calculator, 2,500 divided by the sine of 23, and we're going to round that to the nearest whole meter, which is 6,398.